What answers do Nick Knight and Alex Stewart have?
Been pretty content of late just to look for the ones and twos. There haven't been any big hits, big attacking shots.
It's running away down towards the rope. And will be four. Leg buys is the signal from Steve Dunn. England won't mind how they come. This isn't an exercise in batsmen improving their averages. England looking for a test match victory.
Always difficult in these circumstances for the wicket-keeper. But Stewart, that ball just hitting Alex Stewart's pad.
That's chipped over the infield. And that single brings up a 50 for Nick Knight. Nick Knight's fifth score of 50 or more in test match cricket. It's been a hard slog since the opening for Knight, trying to manoeuvre these spinners around, the ball outside his leg stump into the bowler's rough, but he's stuck in there and made a half-century.
That's a good shot. That is the first boundary in, give or take, 9 or 10 overs. And this time Nick Knight gets himself into a good position. The ball was just a fraction too short.
Talking about the way Alex Stewart uses his feet, that was exemplary from Nick Knight. Very quick on them, giving himself room. The ball wasn't that short, but he got outside the line and cut it away through cover for four.
Well, this is the big difference. Test match cricket as against one-day international cricket. You can get away with this. Alex Stewart this time anticipating, getting himself into position to at least get pad on it. And the leg by it is.
It may, David, become a point when the umpires feel that this isn't within the spirit of the game.
Well, I suppose you can argue that if it was in the spirit of the game 5 minutes ago, then it has to be in the spirit of the game for the rest of the game. You've got to be consistent. Now that could well be wide, because it was so wide. It was just that simple. There comes a point where Ian Robinson has to decide whether or not the batsman can legitimately get the bat on ball.
Well, I think that's wide in anybody's book.
51 now needed off 8. Now, just to read the law when it comes to wide balls. If the bowler bowls the ball so high over or so wide of the wicket that in the opinion of the umpire it passes out of reach of the striker standing in a normal guard position, the umpire shall call and signal wide ball as soon as it has passed the line of the striker's wicket. That's the gist of it. Ian Robinson has been using the return crease as a guide. If it's gone wide of that or over that, then it's clearly out of reach. There is a case for saying that once or twice, especially down the leg side, even though the ball has passed within the return crease, wide should also have been called. .37 required. This runs per over. That's high in the air. Now, this should be a very comfortable catch, and is. Alistair Campbell takes it. That's the end of Alex Stewart as he tried to force the pace yet again. But it's the end of a very fine innings indeed. The circumstances required good footwork, good timing, good placement, good shots, and we've seen all of those from Alex Stewart.
That's well bowled again by Strang. And Stewart attempting to lift it over square leg, just gets a looping top edge to Campbell. It's gone for 73. Super knock. 154 for 2 England.
Nasser Hussain's first delivery. A leg by.
And Nasser Hussain is at the crease because Alex Stewart has got a huge top edge, attempting to pull that ball away from Paul Strang. He's got it into the hands of Alistair Campbell. Fine innings from Alex Stewart, 73 in almost even time, 76 balls.
Nick Knight looking for those two. Great fielding. Grant Flower down there made ground very quickly to the ball and then made sure that it was back on its way to the keeper, straight over the top of the stumps. Lovely work. Nasser Hussain in his new position for England at number 4. That's out. Well, he tried to make room for himself. Had to go an awful long way outside leg stump to try and get it through that offside field. There were plenty of gaps there. And yet he's hit the ball straight to Stuart Carlisle.
Well, he did everything right, really. Nasser Hussain, nobody out on the offside boundary, but he picked out Carlisle at extra cover. Unfortunate for Nasser Hussain. Goes without scoring, only faced 2 balls. 156 for 3.
John Crawley's at the crease. And it's a shot of ball. Doesn't matter whether you've been there half the afternoon or just arrived at the crease, it's a shot of ball from England.
Two wickets for Paul Strang. 2 for 52 from very nearly 13 overs.
Two wickets in the over then for Paul Strang. Situation changing just a wee bit now for England. They've got to remember just to get bat on ball, keep the 1s and 2s going. This was the first of the wickets in the over. Alex Stewart hitting that high, and Alistair Campbell judging the catch nicely. Not even the hint of a bobble there. 73 very fine runs from Alex Stewart. And then Nasser Hussain, well, second ball basically is faced. Anticipating the turn, laying back on the shot. And look at all that space either side of Stuart Carlisle. So a century maker in the first innings, a duck in the second. That's a long way in the air. And it split the fielders. That's 4 very handy runs.
Well, it's chance your arm time now for England's batsmen. They really have to throw caution to the wind, and Nick Knight has gone for the legitimate sweep. He's got under it. There are 2 men out there, Carlisle and Grant Flower, and neither of them could get near it.
He's repeated the shot. This time Grant Flower is there and keeps it down to 1.
Crawley on strike with a very open stance. Open right up with Strang bowling round the wicket.
That's going to work very well for England. Now he's got the bat on that, which would have further complicated it for poor Andy Flower, the keeper. That is a keeper's nightmare. The bat flailing around in front of your face. Possibility of a top edge, and there obviously has been some sort of edge here.
See the grip changing, and Really trying to heave the ball round from outside leg stump. Finest of edges for 4.
The coach is on the wander. Goff's padded up again. I wonder what the captain's thinking. It's oh so near to be denied now. I wonder what his tactic will be. Not bowling it too straight, I don't suppose. Nick Knight will be on strike for England. Nick Knight on 77. Full toss. Knight's onto it, but it'll be just the single. Brian Strang out in the pastures. Down at long on for the left-hander. High in the air and gone. Stuart Carlisle takes the catch out at deep point. At last he makes a contribution to this match. Crawley the man out.
A little unlucky. Just a little bit off the bottom of the bat, but hit pretty well. Would probably just about have gone all the way, or just inside the rope, but well watched and well caught. John Crawley's now gone for 7. It's pretty well hit. Probably feel a little unlucky to find that one man out there on that boundary, but he took it very well, judged it, never easily. But the century maker of the first innings, John Crawley, is gone.
Guy Whittle picking up a wicket with his second ball. They're 2 left-handers together now. There's just a man saving one either side. The rest are on the fence. Whittle to Knight. Knight will look for 2. A longer down. There's only one. Knight on 79. But what can Graham Thorpe conjure up? There's only one again. Great fielding. Paul Strang. Brilliant throw. Just 5 singles from the over.
Paul Strang comes in very, very quickly from the boundary. Gets both hands to it, doesn't take any chances, but it's the speed that he gets the throw away with. Excellent fielding.
Alistair Campbell had some problems when the seamers disappeared at the start of the innings. He persevered with Paul Strang and Grant Flower for long periods, but now it's back to the seamers. The attack in the hands of Heathstreak and the unlikely figure of Guy Whittle at this stage, but they're doing a great job for Zimbabwe. They're not prepared to give up this test match, and the odds are lengthening against an England victory. Just 14 runs conceded by Heathstreak in his 3 overs since coming back. He's off a short run to Graham Thorpe. Up in the air, and Thorpe's gone now. Zimbabwe fighting their way back into the match, not only to save it, but possibly to win it, as England try for these 205 runs. Thorpe's gone for 2. It's 182 for 5.
Just a puff of dust there as Graham Thorpe looks to whip it on the leg side. Gets a leading edge, and one of the 2 men who've stayed in saving one is Alistair Campbell. And Graham Thorpe has now gone for 2. England 182 for 5. Darren Gough coming to the wicket now, who sat there with his pads on for most of this innings. He'll enjoy the situation, but there'll be a few nerves jingling out there, but what a way to finish a test match. Who says test match cricket's boring?
The batsman crossed, so Nick Knight is on strike. Darren Gough at the non-striker's end. Nick Knight surveying the leg side, as though that's his favourite area for a boundary. All he can do is hit Darren Gough. They'll just be the one. England have lost 4 wickets for 28 runs in the last 31 deliveries. The picture is rapidly changing. 183 for 5. 22 required. Whittle to Gough. Well bowled. Whittle has a shot at the stumps. That wasn't too bright. Gough's back for 2.
Well, Darren Gough's going to enjoy every minute of this. Enjoy it more if he can pick up a few 2s like this. Guy Whittle did everything right. There was no point in throwing. Instead,
Knight's gone for the bye. The umpire says not out, so it must be a bye that's signalled. Whittle convinced that Darren Gough got an inside edge on that. Umpire Dunn says no, a single results.
it's very well bowled again, following Darren Gough. I think that's probably near his back leg.
Atherton can still smile, so too Hussain. Will England be smiling at the end of this over? They need 13 runs to win this match. Heath Streak will be the bowler. Zimbabwe in no hurry. Campbell's going to make sure that every corner of this boundary is patrolled.
One boundary, anything could happen.
Streak tonight, down the leg side. Perfectly legitimate today. 1 ball gone with no runs scored.
That's the line. One-day cricket, it would be illegal. In Test cricket, it's quite legitimate. Well, they bowled very well, Heath Streak. And particularly Guy Whittle, I think, who came on. And the game was probably still in England's favour, but these two have dragged it back and bowled very well.
Knight's got it out to long off. Darren Gough prepared to sacrifice his wicket, but he's got back for 2. Flower, the fielder, making sure there'd be no overthrow, allowed England back for 2. I think Zimbabwe will settle for that.
I'm surprised that Graham Flower didn't skid this into Heath Streak. He's behind the stumps. He's in perfect position. If he runs with it and then just lobs it, and it wasn't very accurate either, and if he'd have skidded it in, Darren Gough, I think, would have struggled.
That's what Knight's looking for. He's chipped it over his head for 6. Unbelievable. Nick Knight's got Heath Streak away over mid-wicket for 6 runs. Now England are back in it. England now need 5 runs to win off 3 balls. The England supporters are going crazy.
Now that gives the Zimbabwean captain, Alistair Campbell, something to think about. 5 or 3 balls. Does he leave everyone on the boundary, or does he bring someone in?
Nick Knight, the hero of the hour now. That 6 runs has made all the difference. Have a look at this.
If you keep firing it in the same area, the batsman will eventually be able to adjust, and that's what's happened here. And Nick Knight, 92 not out now. 1, 6, 5 4s. And that has changed everything 5 runs now needed from 3 balls. The only one thing that is for sure, England can't lose. And Zimbabwe have got to do everything they can now to stop it, the victory. But that is a magnificent hit.
Nick Knight couldn't be under greater pressure, and he pulls that shot out of the bag. A lot of critics of one-day cricket, but that shot would never have been played in a test match 15 years ago. Here's streak tonight. England require 5. It's wide outside the off stump. No signal from umpire Ian Robinson. England now requiring 5 off 2. How does Heath streak feel? He's got it right that time.
Well,
Knight looking for another hit on the leg side. He's bowled it well wide of off stump.
that's all right. That isn't right. I'm sorry, that isn't right. Well, the England bowlers won't be too happy with this, because Alan Mullally and Darren Gough got wided for balls not as wide as that in this test match.
Full toss. Knight can only get it away for 1. Gough will definitely come back for the second run. He's made it with a dive. Streak can't take the ball cleanly. England scramble 2, but they 3 to win off the last ball. We've seen one-day finishes all over the world. We've never seen a test match finish like this. Now, the batsmen are in conference. The big 3 for Zimbabwe in conference. Campbell has told the bowler what to do. He goes out onto the boundary edge. Andy Flower wishes Heath Streak good luck. Nick Knight takes a few deep breaths. It's all on the Warwickshireman's shoulders here. England need 3 runs to win off the very last ball to win this test match. Can Nick Knight conjure up another boundary? One feel it has to be a boundary now for England to win this match. Here comes Streak. Knight's down the track, he's got it out to deep cover, there's a man there. This too will bring the scores level. Andy Flower's got it. Darren Gough vainly goes for the 3rd runs. The scores are level, but the match is drawn. England finished tantalisingly 1 run short. They've levelled the scores with Zimbabwe. They couldn't get the final run. Nick Knight just getting 2 off the last ball and finishes on 96 not out. What a test match day we've seen here in Bulawayo. Nick Knight can't believe it. He's done all that hard work. England finish just 1 run short. Great work by Nick Knight and the rest of the England team. Controversial tactics from Zimbabwe as they fire the ball wide either side of the wickets. But I'm sure England would have done the same thing in their situation. This is test match cricket, remember. Zimbabwe have fought all the way and out of the fire have salvaged a draw. The crowd stand for Nick Knight and the England team. Alex Stewart, another hero of the hour. England just failed to make it. The scores are level here in Bulawayo.
That was an absolutely amazing game of cricket. One of the most exciting you could ever wish to see, and one of the most historical, because for the first time in the history of Test match cricket, a match has been drawn with the scores level. It is absolutely not a tie. The side that bats last has to be bowled out for it to be a tie. It is a draw, and it is also, of course, a draw on the occasion when Zimbabwe and England met in Bulawayo for the first time ever in a Test match. A cracking occasion. 204 for 6 England. Brilliant performance from Nick Knight and also from Alex Stewart, and just 1 run short of what would have been a famous victory. And after play, Charles Colville spoke to the two captains and the man of the match, Nick Knight.
Alistair, what a terrific game of cricket.
Yes, it was indeed. You know, a bit nerve-wracking towards the end, so we are glad to get a draw out of it in the end.
You look quite drained, actually.
Yeah, it was all to and fro out there, you know, where to bowl it, what fields to set. So, like I said, glad to get a draw in the end.
There's obviously going to be a certain amount of controversy about the tactics Zimbabwe employed.
Well, I think there was only one way to bowl out there. I think a lot of sides have used that. And when you, you know, behind the black ball in Test cricket, I think you've got to use those tactics. So I'm going to defend that to the hilt.
We tried exceptionally hard. We really worked hard to bowl them out this morning. Nick Knight and Alex Stewart played fantastically well to get us so close. We just failed, but I was very proud of the way we played.
What did you feel about the Zimbabwean tactics in the second half of the day when they were obviously bowling quite wide of the stumps and also had the field so deeply set?
Well, I don't blame them for that. I think a lot of sides would have done the same. I was disappointed one or two deliveries weren't given as wide towards the end when they're exceptionally wide. But generally, I have no complaints.
And this must give you a lot of satisfaction to have turned in such a good performance after all the flack you got earlier on in the tour about the way it had gone early on.
Well, I think I told everybody after the first week that not to judge us on those performances. I think showed that we played in a positive manner here. Everybody's played exceptionally well, and people can be proud of the way we played.
The 6 in the last over, that really did set things up.
Yeah, I was struggling to get the ball off the square for a while, but finally got the ball for 6 and got it down to 5 off 3 and felt really I was in with a good shout winning, and disappointed not to have made it, but as I say, a great game.
So what about the next Test match in Harare on Boxing Day?
Well, we'll be playing in the same manner, same positive vein, and hoping to win the match in the series.
And at least the Barmy Army are in good voice.
Yeah, they've seen a good game today. It was a great finish to what looked like possibly was going to be a dull Test match for 4 days, but we worked hard and made it into a great game for the fans.
Most interested in the words of Nick Knight there. I thought he was modest and captured the enormity of this special occasion extremely well. Now then, we've got the Test match for you that begins on Boxing Day up in Harare, 7:30 in the morning. We're on the air live and exclusive again with Sky Sports, and how well that game has been set up after the business of this afternoon. We've also got a preview for you on Christmas Day afternoon itself. That's on at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. This really has been a day when sport has been king. This has been entertainment unparalleled in the history of the game, with the match ending drawn with the scores level. All credit to the players for that. For the moment, it's goodbye from Bulawayo.